Hey guys, it's Nate from Player Court. Today we're talking about the drop shot and the technique necessary to make it a deadly weapon. All right, we're talking about the drop shot. Today's instruction is for Player Court members with a rating of 60 and above. If you don't have your own Player Court rating, be sure to check out the platform. You can check it out for free in the link below. All right, the drop shot. Huge weapon. We're seeing it more and more in today's tennis, especially on clay season, ATP, WTA. It's everywhere. Sometimes overused, but on clay, can't be used enough, right? Most of the time. What we're talking about with the drop shot is the ability to hit a ball that keeps the ball in a sector of the court between the net and the service line. The deeper it goes, the more problematic, all right? But with that being said, it doesn't mean that it has to just barely clear the net, and we don't have to be afraid of height. What we want is plenty of backspin, all right? So let's talk about the technique that's gonna be necessary to hit a drop shot. First, and probably most important, is you've gotta have the right grip, and it's gotta be somewhere between a continental and an Eastern grip, right? So if I'm continental here, if I move my hand over a bit, I'll be Eastern. But so remember, continental, web of my hand sits on top, my index knuckle and the heel pad is on bevel 2. That's gonna be the most common, all right? If I go Eastern, and I'm not talking about an Eastern backhand, an Eastern forehand, I'm just gonna slide that knuckle over a little bit from bevel 2 more towards the right, all right? So that's first and foremost, is having the correct grip. After we've got that continental grip, what we're gonna focus on is what we're doing with the left hand. This is a touch shot. It's about finesse. So I don't want the right arm to be overly activated. I don't want tension. I don't want those muscles to engage. So when I take the racket back, I'm gonna take it back solely with the left hand. Obviously my dominant hand is still on the grip, all right? But I'm gonna take the racket back and my elbow is gonna go up. So it's gonna look a lot like I'm going to slice, because one of the key mechanisms of a good drop shot is the ability to disguise it so your opponent isn't recognizing it. All right, so left hand takes the racket back, I've got my continental grip, elbow is up, and I'm going to get my weight forward or somewhat neutral, but I wanna be out on that front foot, okay? I don't wanna be all the way out, that's why I said somewhat neutral, all right? But as I step in now, as the racket drops, what's gonna happen is I'm going to allow the racket to scoop as if it's on the inside of a bowl, all right? So ordinarily on a slice, as I'm coming through, the racket makes that plane, working a bit on the outside of the ball and then coming across. A drop shot's gonna have much more of a scoop here, all right? Because I wanna get under the ball as well, so I give it that aggressive backspin and I'm hitting up, all right? So important to note, when I'm working through this shot and my racket is falling through, I wanna keep my arm back. But on the drop shot, it's not like the one-handed backhand or the one-handed slice to where I'm gonna anchor the arm. I don't necessarily want this left arm fully extended. We don't see a lot of drop shots like this, right? I just need to make sure that I keep that arm up so the movement doesn't become so large, okay? So now let's talk about the finish. As I have that elbow up, the racket drops, contact a little bit closer to the body. I don't want to be reaching, all right? It works on the inside like a bowl, and then from there, the racket tip will face forward, okay? All right, so the drill that we can do, we don't have to have a partner or anything else. We just need a couple tennis balls, and we want to focus on hitting the ball so that it has the ability to bounce 3 times in the service box. That's how we know we've done it correctly. We'll take a look at what this exercise looks like now. All right, so on this exercise, what I'm doing is I'm making sure that I get enough height, but I have enough spin that the ball stays in the service box 3 times. You can see there, it bounced 3 times. This is really important because I want to make sure that spin is enough that it's not hitting and going towards my opponent, right? So there you can see that wasn't awful, but it wasn't a terrific drop shot because there wasn't enough spin, so my ball ended up propulsing out to my opponent. I don't want the ball going anywhere near my opponent. I want it coming, not necessarily going away from my opponent, but not going to them. That part is really important. So the next thing we're gonna pay attention to is the height, all right? I don't wanna try to just barely skim the net, right? That's not the goal here. I wanna play with some height, all right? I get on the inside of that bowl, and there, 3, 4, right before it passes that service line. That is what I'm hoping to obtain. So don't be afraid of height. It's interesting, when we get certified as a tennis instructor through the USPTA or PTR, we have to have this skill test, right? To make sure that if we're teaching it, we kind of have to be able to do it. And they'll put a line that splits the service box, right? And you've got to try to get that ball to bounce 3 times before it gets outside of that line. So you don't even get the whole service box. But that's kind of extreme, right? Like, use the whole service box. If it bounces 3 times inside the service box, you've done a fantastic job, okay? All right, so the last thing that we're gonna talk about is positioning. Your positioning and your opponent's. When should you hit the drop shot? You wanna make sure that you've moved your opponent off the court. You've pushed them back or you've pulled them way out to the side, okay? Now, when you get the ball that pulls you inside the baseline, that's when you can drop shot. You don't want to be drop shotting 6 feet behind the line. You want to be at the line, ideally inside the line when you're hitting it. Now, when you hit the drop shot, it's going to be way easier to go down the line like you saw me do there, because it's going to get to its target faster, okay? If I go cross court, the ball has to travel farther, which means it's going to give my opponent more time to anticipate it and get to it. Guys, I really hope this instruction on the drop shot helped. Get out there and practice it. If you liked the instruction, be sure to hit that like button, share it with a buddy, and hit that subscribe button. Ring that bell to make sure you never miss a Play Your Court video. Guys, thank you so much for watching. It means the world to us. We'll see you next time.